When it comes to real estate, everything matters. Whether you're a realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, Real Estate Matters with Stuart Title is here to inform, entertain, and inspire you. Host Bill Napick from Stuart Title will talk with guests about what really matters when it comes to owning, buying, and selling real estate. Real Estate Matters with Stuart Title starts right now. Here's your host, Bill Napick.
And welcome to the show, Real Estate Matters with Stuart Title. I am your host, Bill Napick. This is where America tunes in to hear great real estate talk, also personal development talk. So whether you're listening in Houston, Texas, Dallas, California, Michigan, or anywhere else, we think you're going to enjoy the show because we always have great information and interesting people all the time. Today, we have a great cast, and our first guest, let me tell you a little bit about him. We're very excited to have a New York Times best-selling author. His name is Brian Moran. He has written a book called The 12-Week Year. He says, get more done in 12 weeks than others do in 12 months. He is a gifted speaker, coach, entrepreneur. Brian, thank you, and welcome to the show.
It's great to be with you, Bill. Thanks for having me.
And what a great title, The 12-Week Year. First, Brian, tell people about your company and what you do.
Yeah, essentially everything we do in a nutshell is to help people get more of what they want faster. And that's what the 12-week year is about. And so from a 30,000-foot view, that's it. Whether it's in your personal life or your business, just getting more of what you want faster.
And that's very exciting. And in this book, The 12-Week Year, as I mentioned, you say that you can accomplish more of people's dreams, both in their personal and business life, and their goals in 12 weeks than most do in a year. How does that work?
Well, the fundamental breakdown for most people in accomplishing more or really accomplishing what they're capable of is not this notion that they lack information or they lack knowledge or they don't have the right strategy or they're not exposed to the right sales idea or whatever that may be. The fundamental breakdown is in execution. And what the 12-week year is an execution system. And so the reality is it's not enough to know. If you look at the diet and fitness industry, it's a $70 billion industry annually, and yet 63% of Americans, depending on what study you look at, are overweight or obese. It's not a matter of not knowing. It's a matter of doing. And so what the 12-week year does is it focuses on the execution because it closes that knowing-doing gap in a sense. And so it helps you act more consistently on the things that matter most. And in doing that, you know, a couple days of that, no big deal, a couple weeks of that. But when you do that day in, day out, week in, week out, it quickly becomes like compound interest in terms of the impact. And that's how we're able to make the claim and substantiate the claim that you can accomplish more in 12 weeks than most do in 12 months. It's not about doing as much. It's really about accomplishing by focusing on the things that are really most important.
Indeed. And that word execution, I think, is so great, underused because you have to do it. It's like I guess it was Nike years ago, just do it. What are the tips that you talk about that help people get from the idea, from the vision, to actually getting something done?
Yeah, well, the first thing is to get out of that annualized mindset. That's what the whole 12-week year is about. It was adapted from an athletic training concept called periodization, where they focus in for a very short period of time on a particular skill or discipline. And we move beyond that to really focus on the fundamentals that drive income and life balance. But that's every 12 weeks is treated as a year because in an annual environment, Bill, there's an illusion of lots of time. So in January, everybody's fired up, going to have their best year ever. They get to the end of the month, though, and most people are behind on their goals and their plan, but nobody's worried, right? And the thinking is, I got plenty of time to catch up. And so the first thing is to get out of that annualized mindset. Our clients treat every 12 weeks as a year, where there's a hard line in the sand where at the end of those 12 weeks they're going to measure their success or failure. And what that does is it creates a healthy sense of urgency day in and day out. So that's the first piece, is really getting out of that. If you're operating in an annualized mindset, it's just too easy to put things off.
That's right. That is so well put. When we think about that year, it's like, I have plenty of time, right?
Exactly.
and not really is the answer.
That's right. That's right.
In fact, that's what's great about your book. In the very first chapter, you address that mindset. You call it redefining the year. So for those listening, that is really a great and a very important chapter. Another thing you mentioned in the book, you mentioned how important vision is. So tell us how to create a vision, let's say, that's so powerful that we can leap over any obstacle.
Yeah, there's a set of 5 disciplines we work on that are fundamental, and vision, Bill, as you point out, is the first because it's the starting point. Right? If you're going to create anything great in your life, it's because you had the courage to first embrace it mentally before you create it physically, and that's what vision's all about. And we do that work with our clients, and what I find is that most people are uncomfortable doing that because they've never done it. But vision is just simply thinking about the future and defining it in a way that's compelling. So pick a time frame, 3 years from now, right? What do you want your life to look like? And we don't start with income or your career. We start with your life because your income, your career is just part of that. And what would great look like, by the way? Not good, but great. And just starting to kind of narrow the focus on that and define that more effectively. What does that mean in terms of income? What does that mean in lifestyle? What does that mean in terms of the roles I play for me personally as a husband, as a father, as a sibling, as a member of my community, and the things that matter to me? How am I going to show up? And what do I want to create that's exciting, right? Where there's an emotional connection to it. Because what we're looking for then we'll bring that to things like your career or other areas, so that in the end there's an emotional connection to what I do Monday through Friday and the life I want to live. And the stronger that connection is, the easier it is then for you to step out and do things differently and do different things, which is critical, because if you're going to create a different result, you're going to have to do things differently and do different things. And without that emotional connection to it, what happens, Bill, is it's too easy for people to choose what's comfortable and what's familiar. And so that's what most people do. They choose pleasurable activity over pleasurable results. And that starts with the fact that they really haven't defined what they want their life to look like in as much detail as they can, and then stay connected to it. So again, there's that sort of fire in the belly connection to it that really makes it powerful.
Well, and people may think that we all have an idea of what we think we know what we want, but it sounds like we really need to be mindful and take some time, as you're mentioning, to create a powerful vision. What are some of the suggestions that you would give people to be able to, I guess, jot the ideas down to really create this powerful vision?
Yeah, there's a fun exercise some of your listeners may be familiar with. It's called Have Do Be, and you just create 3 columns and take like 3 or 4 minutes per column and list all the things you'd like to have in life, the material, the non-material things, all the things you want to do, all the things you want to be. And then look for the stuff that really matters. Things that show up in each category are the things that will probably matter most. And that's a really great exercise, though, to get you thinking about that. And then pull from that and say, okay, pick a point in time. We do 2 points. We do long-term aspirational, 5, 10, 15 years, and we do 3 years, right? Mm-hmm. So pick a point and say, okay, what is meaningful to me? What do I want to? What kind of life do I want to be living 3 years from today? And some of the things on that have do be list will prompt some thinking around that, and just start to document that. Now the key there is to just hold it lightly. There's no right or wrong. You want to be careful though that you're not heavily influenced by society, but by really what's in your heart. Because if you're not willing to define what you want, society's more than happy to define it for you and tell you
no doubt
what you should want and all of that. So the key there is that it's meaningful to you, and that in the end, it describes what great would look like.
Well, and once that vision's established, what are some of the things to be thinking about to turn that into a plan?
Yeah, so the next step is then bring it near term and say, okay, 12 weeks from today, let me set a couple goals that align with that longer-term vision. And one of the things about 12-week planning is we talk a lot about let's be great at a few things versus mediocre at many, because most plans have too much in them. People are overwhelmed, they're diffused, and partly because they're planning for 12 months. What we want to do is bring that long-term vision near-term and pick 1 or 2 goals and then build out a tactical plan. And even there, less is more, right? We're looking for the critical few in terms of actions. The least amount of, we call them tactics, but the least number of actions in order to accomplish the goal. And just get very granular with the plan. Because most plans are conceptual, and concepts don't execute. You've got to get tactical. And so a tactic is really a statement that describes an action that I can take. So, right? It might be like ask for referrals 3 times a day. It might be something that says, walk 2 miles 3 times per week, right? It describes an action that I can take. And when we construct our plans, we need to get that specific and that granular so that we know what's most important over the next 12 weeks.
In 12 weeks, we have that plan for things we want 3, 5 years and down the road. But there, as we look at each and every day is so important, right, Brian? What are the things that we should be mindful of as we approach each day and connecting the right actions to the 12-week plan, thus what life's going to be like 3, 5 years from now?
Yeah, I think the key there, Bill, is that we control our actions, not our outcomes. We influence the outcomes, we desire the outcomes, we control our actions. So think of the goals as outcomes. I want to weigh a certain weight, I want to make a certain dollar in terms of income or whatever it may be. Those are outcomes. I don't control them. What I control are the actions.
Hey, Brian, let's say that again. That bears repeating. We control our actions, right?
Right, not the outcomes. And so where people get snarled up is when the outcome doesn't look the way we want it, and we get all fixated on that, and it can be really paralyzing. What you want to know is that we control the actions, and so the actions are the tactics in the plan. And let's translate them to weekly. So on a weekly basis, we're working from that plan, but it's not a plan we create each week out of the blue. It's just taking what's due in the 12-week plan this particular week. So if I'm in week 3, I'm going to my 12-week plan. I'm looking for tactics that are due in week 3. And that's my weekly plan. Now, it's not the only thing I do, right? There's all kinds of other things I do. But in terms of hitting the goal, those are the most important things. So then I begin to align my time with what's in the plan. Because if that stuff gets done, I had a great week, regardless of the results, right? The outcomes are lag and I don't control them. So if I did what's in my plan, I had a great week. If I didn't, I've lost a week. And so that's why we talk so much about the mindset, right? Your mindset about what you can control and what you can't control and what constitutes an effective week and what doesn't. And it's all about the actions.
No doubt about it. Mindset is so important. In fact, I like the very first page of your book. You quote Thomas Edison, if we did the things we are capable of doing, we would literally astound ourselves. And that's what the 12-week year book does for people. And you see it all the time, Brian, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. You know, I like to joke and astound yourself in a good way.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's super important. Well, Brian, one other thing. What do you in your findings? What do you find the biggest reason that people fail to achieve what they're truly capable of? Is there one thing, or is there several?
Yeah, I think there is, Bill. And it's a really good question, and I think it's the fact that we as humans are wired for comfort. You know, we tend to seek comfort, and I think that's the number one enemy of people accomplishing what they're capable of and what they really desire to do. And that's why we got to get out of that annual mindset, because it's just too easy to choose what's comfortable in the moment. That's why vision matters. That's why staying connected to the vision, to having a powerful why that says, okay, I'm willing to step out and be uncomfortable doing these new things and go through the uncertainty, because there's no guarantee they're going to produce the results I want. But the why is powerful enough that I'm willing to step out and do it. You know, so it takes sacrifice to be great. I don't think you have to sacrifice your family, your values, your integrity, your health, your sanity, but you're going to sacrifice your comfort. Because in order to create the things that people want to create, they're going to have to do things differently and do different things, which means every time you do that, there's a level of discomfort, there's a level of uncertainty, there's a level of anxiety that goes with that. And that's the thing, that's the biggest barrier that people have to overcome on a daily basis, is in spite of that, to choose to act.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to Brian Moran, best-selling author of The 12-Week Year. Brian, this is an incredible book. Tell people how they can learn more about your company, some of the things you're doing, and how they can get a copy of the book.
Sure, yeah. The book's available on Amazon, on Kindle, and Barnes & Noble, all of that. It's also on our website, 12weekyear.com, 12weekyear.com. We have everything from online training and an online app that supports the application of the 12-week year, to individual and group coaching, to me coming out and doing everything from keynotes to half-day and full-day trainings. So, you know, if there's a way we can support you, we'd love to help you. You can reach out to us through that website. There's a contact page there. You can fill out and tell us what you're interested in. But it'll give you a chance to kind of look at some of the stuff we do and how we might help.
And I think it's absolutely brilliant that as you hit it right on the head, where people look at that year, especially around New Year's, we plan all these things. but we look too far ahead. Every day is important, and when you consolidate it, it's just brilliant to bring it down to the 12-week year. One quick word, how did you get that idea to begin with, to bring it down to 12 weeks?
It's interesting, Bill. We were working with, and I say we, my business partner, Mike Lennington, who co-authored the book, we were working with the whole notion of execution. And one of our clients was into cycling, and he started to talk to us about a concept called periodization, which is an athletic training program. And I recalled it from, my weightlifting days. And so we started to look at that, and that's where the 12-week year was born out of. It was really an adaptation of that periodization training for athletics and moving beyond training, as I said, to really focus in on the fundamentals that drive income and life balance.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Brian, for being on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Moran, the 12-week year, 12weekyear.com. Thank you so much, Brian.
Thanks for having me, Bill. Appreciate it.
Most people don't know that Stewart offers business, home, and auto insurance. In fact, Stewart Insurance and Risk Management has been doing that and more for over 10 years. And they partner with many leading insurance companies to offer great rates. They're a national insurance agency operating in all 50 states, delivering a broad range of insurance products. Whether you need a home insurance quote for a client's home closing or your own insurance needs, you can count on them. Call 866-845-4676. That's 866-845-4676. Stewart Insurance and Risk Management is here to help.
Please welcome Stewart Title's National Sales Manager, Mick Goodenough. As you know, sales professionals must keep learning. The Sales Professor is in. Here's Sales Minutes with Mick.
And the Sales Professor is in once again. Mick Goodenough, welcome to the show.
It's great to be here, Bill, as always.
People, we get such great feedback on this segment. People love the segment, and because you always have great information, great things in simplified form that people can take away. They don't even have to write it down sometimes. It's so good. Mick, what do you have today for us?
Well, it always is in simplified form because that's the best way I can retain it.
Me too.
There's no doubt. And simpler is always better. It's so funny. I know two of your other guests are people that I have a lot of respect for. And this is the thing I love doing the most is talking about being very effective in your job. And there are so many techniques and so many ideas and so many plans and there's really nothing. I've gotten away from the idea of saying something's right or wrong, and it's really about, is it effective, is it less effective, or is it ineffective? Because right and wrong brings with it probably a deeper sense of moral judgment, and we're really talking about business and sales and doing things well and doing things for the benefit of not only you but your customer, representing your product or your service well. So all these things, we really, you almost want to take a step back from these black and white two-option terms and look at it much, much differently.
That's right. And in fact, as we think about sales, there's a purity of sales because you persuade them or you show them the features of what you're offering, and they either accept it or they don't, or they wait. But also, along with people that are in the sales profession, there are so many other things to do, to track, to report, all these things. Sometimes that can take a great salesperson off track if they don't manage it properly.
You couldn't be more correct. And so I had seen this comic, and it says it shows a manager sitting with two of his salespeople, and it says, I need your sales forecasts by Monday, your updated client list by Tuesday, your expense reports by Wednesday, and your budget plans by Thursday. And by the way, why aren't you people making more sales calls?
Hell yeah, sell something.
So go sell something. So we do know that in many times there are so many things that salespeople have to do task-wise that they are important. They are important to make sure you're staying on top of the things you are required to do to fulfill the duties of your position. But at the same time, you have to be very focused about making sure that you don't immerse yourself in these things and get away from what is truly important. And that is what we like to call at Stewart the income-producing activities. Activities that without a much stretch of the imagination, you can directly point that this is going to result in revenue generation for you, for your company, and a positive outcome for your customer as well. And we really are hyper-focused now on looking at those things in all of our sales day. It is something that you have to be very, very self-aware not self-critical, not hypercritical, but you have to know and understand and take a look at your day, every day in your week, and say, did I do the things I needed to do to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish? And that's why, having listened to Brian just now, it was just great. It put a smile on my face because I love his book. I've embarked on the 12-week year planning myself. It's one of my goals for this year with the company. And it makes me very happy to hear things like this because it is so meaningful, but we also cannot get drawn into the minutia. And it's interesting, Bill, I've seen this in real estate. I've been in the title business now going on 27 years, and I've dealt with a lot of wonderful realtors over the years. As I've said on a past show, my mom was a realtor for 31 years. I've seen how realtors as well can get off track because if they're singular transaction focused, in other words, you get up, you consummate a deal and you open an escrow and you have your customer in the escrow process, and you tend to you hang on to that and you're managing that through the process, and you lose track of the other things you need to be doing all the time. You need to continue prospecting, you need to continue networking. Then when that deal closes, you're further behind in your plans. It's really one of the things, what another great sales trainer that I follow on Twitter, Tom Ferry, talks about all the time, is blocking out those times for those income producing activities. So it goes across the sales spectrum, but it truly is important in real estate to stay focused, do the things you need to do every day, but also do the things that are truly important to advancing your cause and advancing your career and your happiness.
And as you said just a minute ago, you said when we look back at what activities were income-producing activities, that's a great thing too. But also, as we all have, or not all of us, a lot of us have to-do lists and write down the actions that we're going to do on a given day. I think that's a good thing as we do that to also say, hey, I have this written down. Is that an income-producing activity? And look at it on the front end as well. I think that's very important, right? Very important.
To-do lists, task lists, you have to write the things down that you need to accomplish. And checking those off as you go gives a tremendous sense of satisfaction. You're accomplishing things. The bigger point, which you just said, is those things need to be very important. And listen, sometimes you just have to do the mundane, everyday tasks, whatever that is, running errands, doing these things that life happens every day. But it's still important, is if you're a professional salesperson, there are things you need to do professionally every single day. You need to identify those, and you need to schedule for those important things and not vary unless there's a big fire you have to put out.
That's right. In fact, even sometimes, as you're mentioning, the comic with the reports and things like that, in a way, even doing our report is an income-producing activity because depending on the company we work for or our own discipline, that's required to do that to create our living and to maintain our living.
It's certainly true. Reports are very, very interesting. In my years as a sales manager, I always told the people who reported to me, reports are made to be written, not read. In other words, don't write the report with me in mind as the reader, and that you're trying to somehow convey to me the things that you think I want to hear. What I always said is write the report as if you were grading, you were assessing your own performance, and that you would be the one after you reread it to say I'm happy or not. Because the greatest associates I've ever had work for me have much, much higher expectations of their own performance than I would ever have. And in many times when they would go off track, they would be so down on themselves. My only job really was to buck them back up and tell them how outstanding they were and send them back on their way. But that's really important to know and understand.
And also it kind of ties in with accountability as well. And that's one of the components of Brian's book, The 12-Week Year. He talks a great deal about accountability and how that helps you get to your goals.
It's great. And I love that part of his book when he says accountability is not about the discipline. It doesn't have a disciplinary edge. It's about ownership. I am accountable. I'm accountable to myself to get these things done. I'm accountable to my boss to make sure that I'm representing my department or my company well. And I'm accountable to my company as well. So really, it starts with us as individuals and being fulfilled and driven in a good way, and then getting those things done in an organized way. That's why I'm a big 12-week year fan, and so happy that we're involved with that.
Indeed. And also another thing to tie in, as you mentioned the term income-producing activities, that ties in with Brian. What he talks about is having that vision is one thing, but you have to execute it. And simply put that also, you could say that you just have to do it and go back to do the income-producing activities. I mean, it's all so logical. and sometimes we just falter and get off track. If someone's off track, though, tell Mick some of the things that you do to get back on track, too.
Well, the main thing you can do to get back on track is have that plan, have those tasks, understand that you will get off track. I mean, that's almost the first thing you have to say is, I will get off track. So it shouldn't surprise you when it happens or shock you or throw you for too big of a loop. I mean, it depends on the event that takes you off track. But then you have to realize, I'm looking back at my plan for the week or for the month, and I know I still have these things to accomplish in a certain amount of time. That's, again, what I love about the 12-week-year book, and I know I'm sounding like an ongoing commercial for Brian, but it's an outstanding approach to it. Is there's not a lot of time that can go by before you realize, I really need to get with the program. It's not like you have an entire year or a quarter to say, okay, I got time to get back to it. And that's really what we're talking about. But having a plan and goals, though, that is what will get you back on track. But really the bigger part is just realizing up front you will get off track, and you need this system in place to get back on track.
Having a plan, having a process in place, because just like an airline pilot, they know that things will go wrong, and when they do, they're not like, oh, what do we do now? Hey, there's the engine went out. What do we do? No, they know exactly. They have protocols, they have systems in place. They keep a clear head, and they fix it, and they deal with it.
They do. They fix it. They deal with it. That happens in a lot of industries, and I think it can be applied to ours as well. And that is what it means to be a professional salesperson. There are professional ideas. There are professional approaches every single day. And I've always told people, the more you're in control of your day, the more you are controlling your day, the happier and more fulfilled you will be. The most miserable salespeople are the ones whose sales lives are out of control. They're being pulled in every direction. They can't discipline themselves. Everybody else is calling the shots. Those are very unhappy salespeople. Disciplined salespeople who have control actually have the most fun.
Indeed they do. And in fact, I'm having a premonition here, Mick. There's going to be a time that we're going to be talking about the book that you write, and that probably won't be that long from now. I'm just guessing.
Well, it's funny you say that. I follow a number of very smart people on Twitter, motivational people, and they all, Jeff Gittimer's one, Brian Tracy's one, and they all say that if you have any aspirations at all to write, and I do, and I have in the past, some other things, just sketching things out. But they said, get up and write something every day. And so that's what I do. And even if it's a couple of paragraphs, an idea, you just get used to this idea. So it is a goal of mine. I have things in my head that I think would help people. And one day, I hope soon, that we'll be able to announce that.
No doubt about it. Ladies and gentlemen, Mick Goodenough. Tell them how they can find out more, Mick.
Well, the best way is to go to Stewart.com and check out our beautiful website for our company. Goodenough, Goodeno at Stewart.com is my email address. So I'd love to hear from anybody.
Very nice. Ladies and gentlemen, our sales professor, Mick Goodenough. Thank you, Professor.
Thanks, Bill.
If you've been in the real estate industry for any length of time, you know unexpected and costly events can happen. Safeguard yourself against the unexpected with Real Estate Errors and Omissions Insurance, or E&O, through Stewart Insurance and Risk Management. Not all E&O insurance policies are created equal. How confident are you that your current E&O policy fully protects you? Stewart Insurance and Risk Management offers expertise in the real estate industry and tailors your coverage to correctly manage your risk. With Stewart Insurance and Risk Management, facing the unexpected just became a lot easier. Safeguard your future with real estate E&O insurance through Stewart Insurance and Risk Management. Call today at 866-845-4676. That's 866-845-4676. Or email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com to request tailored insurance options for you and your business.
And now we are with Eric Sachs with Breakthrough Broker. Eric, thank you and welcome to the show.
Absolutely. It's an honor to be here.
And Breakthrough Broker, first of all, that's such a great name. Let's tell people, what is Breakthrough Broker?
We're the largest free online resource for realtors in the world.
And when you say online resource, let's tell people, what are some of the things, what are the resources that you're providing to realtors?
You know, when we were selling, when we owned our real estate company, our agents were having trouble finding the things they needed on an everyday basis to succeed. And we really wanted to provide marketing resources, business planning resources. So you can go to Breakthrough Broker and you can find flyers and brochures and business plans and postcard marketing and really anything an agent needs to run and grow their business is there, and we give it away for free.
And those are all things realtors need. But you have some of the things also that they don't normally think about. And many realtors, large or small, have their own training programs, and they have some resources already. But let's tell people you have some resources that even some of the larger brokers don't have.
Absolutely. We were hearing from the industry, from the agents out there trying to sell more homes, what they needed. And so we wanted to give strategic letter campaigns, low inventory prospecting letters, new agent letters, special letters to for sale by owners, door hangers with serrated business cards at the bottom. Just give agents everything they need. The real estate companies, they're real estate companies. We're a content company, so we're able to create new content every week for realtors to be able to go out there and find the business and market their homes and themselves the way they need to. Yeah, the resources are available to all realtors throughout the country. Stewart is an advertising marketing partner with us, and the sales representatives at Stewart are experts on the resources within Breakthrough Broker. So there's always an advantage to be using the website, breakthroughbroker.com, through a local partnership.
No doubt about it. Also, give us an idea as far as the inception of Breakthrough Broker, some of the things that inspired you to take this awesome resource and of tremendous content, and you deliver it twice a week, right?
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit more about how that started and a little bit about your background, please.
You know, it's interesting. Real quick about my background, there aren't many realtors out there that have a 4-year degree on how to sell houses. Most of us have a past life. I think almost everyone listening right now probably did. So my past life was fun. I was in law enforcement. I was a detective for 7 years, went back to the street to train rookies because even back then I loved to teach. And when you're training rookies, they send you to burglar alarms all night long. And I found myself in nice homes, checking out the granite and the backsplash, and thought, man, I'd get my real estate license. So I did.
And that's right after you gave someone their rights, right?
Right,
you have the right to
exactly.
remain silent. But where'd you get that backsplash?
Exactly. And so I got my real estate license, did very well, doubled my cop salary working part-time as a realtor. So I decided to quit cop work, and it was better for my family to open a real estate company. And I grew a company in a tough real estate times between 2004 and 2010. And we grew it, had a great culture, had a fun time. The company was acquired in 2010. And rather than go work for the big corporation and big franchise that bought us, my business partner and I were sitting around listening to Pandora Radio, free internet concept really grabbed us, and we wanted to help real estate agents outside of our local market. So we decided to create a platform for realtors where they could find marketing resources, business development resources, and education resources, all with equal access for free. And that's what we did. We have a little over, we have close to 600 resources, 600 pieces of content, for actionable pieces of content for realtors to use on the site.
And that's very interesting, too, the law enforcement thing. We could talk a lot about that, but the connection, I think, is fascinating because in law enforcement, things are changing. Laws are changing. How you engage with a suspect or someone that you're just interviewing about a crime or something, you have to stay up to date with so many things, and teaching is such a huge part of law enforcement, isn't it? Just like real estate.
Yeah, I mean, it taught me how to talk to anybody. So I was a very young cop at 22, and I was able to, the old term, fake it till you make it. So I was able to learn my way and speak to anybody in society. And so I was able to take that experience and bring it to my real estate life, and then from there bring it to helping agents throughout the country sell more homes.
And no doubt about it. But once again, education is so important. And people that hear this show, Eric, there are some realtors that may have just started, but there also are the top. In Houston, we have some top realtors that are selling high-dollar properties, top of the top. But even realtors that have that high level of success, making millions of dollars, even there are things on this Breakthrough Broker that they should be interested in, and that'll even help them either make the job easier or help them attract even more business.
Absolutely. And I think some of the top producers that are listening to this right now would agree with me. When I was selling a lot of homes, I was constantly craving new ideas, new technologies, new strategies to build momentum. I was a big believer in momentum. And that's what we bring. whether you're a top producer or a rookie or anything in between, the ideas that you get from Breakthrough Broker every week via our newsletter and email campaigns are designed to build momentum. We have top producing agents throughout the country that find resources on the site to help them save money, help their teams sell more homes, and then help younger or newer agents, build their business as well.
And you said 4 words, and I'm not going to remember all of them, but you'll pick up on this at a recent meeting of ours. Sales strategies, tips, technologies. What's the 4th one?
Every week we send out strategies, ideas, tips, technologies, presentations to help build momentum. Everything is at no cost, and everything is actionable. So everything we put out has something that you can take an action on in order to build your business.
And that is so important. But going once again to that realtor that's doing very, very well, and everybody in between, and people starting out, those that do very well in any profession, these are people that constantly look to resources, use the right resources, and people that are always learning. I mean, that's what's so important, and that's what we want to tell people today. Boy, go to Breakthrough Broker, call your local Stewart person, look at the website. You know who your Stewart representatives are. We're there to help you. Breakthrough Broker is there to help you. Give us an idea. As far as the content goes, Eric, there is so much there. In fact, a realtor could even be overwhelmed. Tell them about maybe the best way to look at that content and digest it and use it maybe the first couple times.
Well, the site is split up into 4 sections: create, succeed, learn, and share. The create section has marketing resources. The succeed section has business development resources. Learn is education, and share is social media. I would suggest that you get involved in our weekly email campaigns, and every Tuesday and every Thursday morning, you get those directed to content that we believe is going to help you build that momentum in your business. So even though it's overwhelming with 600 pieces of content on there, you're able to really digest it in small parts by looking at the email campaigns.
Very nice. Also, Eric, as you do, here we are halfway through the year. Breakthrough Broker is going very well, right?
Yeah, 109,000 agents nationwide.
Unbelievable. As you look at this point in the year and beyond, what lies ahead for you at Breakthrough Broker and for the people that are using these resources? What can they expect as the year unfolds?
Every week, we get ideas from realtors throughout the United States and Canada on what they need in their business. So we're constantly bringing new content, new ideas, new strategies, new marketing material to the website every single week. We're focused on building that content around what the realtors need in the industry. So keep an eye on Breakthrough Broker. We always place new content on our Facebook page, and we're going to stay ahead of what you need so that it's there when you need it.
And once again, that's breakthroughbroker.com, right?
You got it.
What a great name. It helps you break through the pack, stay on top, get on top. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Eric Sachs. With a last minute, Eric, what else should we know?
You know, sometimes when you hear of free content, the word free or no cost has a negative connotation to it. So I want to address, we are advertising based, so we have advertisers throughout the country. The content is top notch. We want to provide the best resources for realtors in the industry, things that they typically would have to pay for, and sometimes it's even better than the pay model. So just because it's free doesn't mean it's cheap, so to speak. And so we'd love for all the listeners to check it out. Give us your feedback, info@breakthroughbroker.com. Let us know what you need for your business, and we'll make it.
Very nice, ladies and gentlemen. Eric Sachs with Breakthrough Broker. Thank you, Eric.
Thanks. It's been great to be here.
And welcome back. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. The show marches on. And now we're going to talk a little Houston real estate, a little north of Houston. His name is Mr. Michael Detana. He is with FYI Realty. Mike, thank you and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. Good to be here.
FYI. First of all, that's a great name and very easy to remember. Tell us about your company and the area that you serve.
Yes, sir. FY Realty actually stands for 4-year investment realty. We came up with that just thinking that anytime you purchase a property or invest in a property, it should be an investment for either now or the future. But after saying FY Realty, 4-year investment realty over the phone seemed to be a mouthful, so we changed it to FY Realty. if you turn those letters backwards, it's invest in your future. So FY Realty was established in 2005. Myself as an individual broker, I got into real estate and became a broker so that I could actually cater to my customers as they needed to be, not having just one fixed way to do business, but being flexible with the clients so that we can work with them in the way that we can and not have to actually come up with an umbrella of a corporation or whatever the case would be.
Interesting. So your approach, Mike, to the marketplace, give people an idea how you approach it. And also, your company is located in Humble?
Yes, sir. Actually, we're located in Old Humble off of Main Street. We just recently moved into a building, a 5,000 square foot building off of Old Main Street, 101 East Main Street. And the way we approach business basically is taking care of our clients. Our client is the main thing, regardless of what they're purchasing, regardless of what price range they're looking in or what they're looking to do, whether it be property management, rentals, purchase for yourself, or whatever the case would be. We're basically, like anybody else should be in the business, looking out for the client, number one, each and every time.
And I like that you have that right in the name of your company, because you remind people, even if they're buying a home just to live in, raise their family, or whatever, the bottom line, when it comes time to sell, it really is an investment. We all want to sell it for way more than we paid for it. I mean, that's just the idea, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, give people an idea in that, and I like certainly there's some great parts of Houston, but that Old Humble, that has a little charm to itself, doesn't it?
It does. I like the Old Humble area. It's, of course, adjacent to Houston, and it's very close to the airport as well. So people that live in the Humble area, Tascasita, Kingwood, like the proximity to be able to fly in and out of the city, and also it's very easy to get downtown. So Humble's been around for a long time. It's growing like crazy out there. We basically call Humble, Kingwood, Tascasita now the Lake Houston area. So it's kind of changing the way they're marketing the area. So if you refer to the Northeast area, they're actually marketing as the Lake Houston area, so forth.
And let's tell people right now, those that may be in Houston certainly want to know, but even people that listen to the show outside of Houston and maybe relocating or something, give them an idea how the market is right now in the Humble near the airport. Many people fly, they'll know that area. Give an idea, how is the market for, let's say, sellers?
Yes, sir. The sellers actually have an advantage at this point because the inventory is still low in the Houston market. So whether you're in actual Houston proper or if you're in the suburbs, it's still very low. So the sellers have an upper hand when it comes to that. If their home is in great condition and it's priced right, it will sell in a day or so, or even the day that you list.
Pretty fast.
Yes. So we have a new loop around Houston called Texas 99, and so that area also continues to expand. And there's a lot of new home subdivisions that are coming up in and around the area. So even the resale people that are selling their properties. Most of the people that have purchased in the past, bought at a lower price before the market went to the boom again. And so at this point, the sellers have an upper hand as long as they have prepared themselves to sell the property. They've gone through a list of properties to get it ready to put on the market, clean it up, paint, do some things to make it more neutralized for the buyer. And if they do that and they price it right and listen to the realtor that they've hired, that's giving them good advice, they will sell their property very quickly.
That is so important. Listen to the real estate professional like yourself. And also for, let's say, the buyer. Let's say I'm preparing to buy a home in this area, north, the Humble, near the airport. What are some of the things that you'd be telling me to coach me along the way to make that great investment?
Well, what I always talk to the buyers about, first of all, you want to be pre-approved for the purchase, or even if you're buying cash, you want to be able to show the proof of funds and so forth. So the fact is that you have to be ready to purchase the property, because when the house hits the market and it's the right house for you and it's priced right, it's going to have multiple offers on it. So the buyers have to be aware that the fact is that in the past you might be able to ask for some concessions from the seller, but at this point, because the market is so competitive, many times there's multiple offers and the buyer has to compensate the seller by, in the sense of not asking for closing costs, maybe only asking for a home warranty, and being able to show that they've gone through the buying process as far as the pre-approval, and they're ahead of the game. And a lot of times too, it really comes down to the fact that you have to be ready and pull the trigger and not be hem-hauling around, because if you do that, in old country words, you're going to be left behind,
No doubt about it. Now, give people an idea, again, people that are listening and around the city, from outside of the city, but tell them, say, take a price point of $300,000.
Yes, sir.
Right? Let's take that and look at the area that you're serving there. What kind of home can they buy, and would you paint a picture of that? Give us an idea.
Yes. I mean, if they're looking for a resale home, they can find some very nice homes at $300,000, where many of the homeowners have updated the property. So you can get a good-sized home, 2,500 to 3,000 square feet, in that $300,000 price range. If you're looking for a brand new home, though, you're going to get a much smaller house. You're probably going to get around 2,200 square feet. Brand new homes. There are several new home developments that are down West Lake Houston in the North Houston area, as far as also in Kingwood. There's homes that are similar to that size, but for that price range, for a brand new house, you're going to be under 2,500 square feet house, usually about a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and so forth. But if you're looking for a nice size home with a nice size yard, $300,000 will buy you a nice resale home in the Northeast area.
That sounds pretty good. Also, let's touch upon the new construction again. Is there, and in all relative terms, but how much new construction is up there for someone to consider?
A lot. There's probably at least, I would say, 15 new home builders in the area. We probably have at least 10 new home subdivisions that are coming up, and there's still more planned out there. There's a lot planned off of, like I mentioned earlier, Texas 99 and 59 area. Now, you do fall into the Montgomery County area there, and if you move there, quite frankly, your car insurance will go down if you move to the Montgomery County area. So one of the things to consider when you're out there, if you're price conscious, is living in the Montgomery County area, which is right outside of Harris County there, is a good alternative for you as well.
Now, it sounds to me like, and I'm thinking for myself right now, in that if I were to move up there, I might say, hey, Mike, just show me new construction. You would have a lot to show, eh?
Absolutely. Yes, sir. There's plenty to choose from.
So new construction. Also, get those that are listening from out of town that have not been to the north part of Texas, give them an idea, kind of paint a picture, because there's a lot of trees. What are some of the other things that they're going to see there, Mike?
Well, the one thing about that area, as I mentioned earlier about the Lake Houston area, we do have a lake that's out there in the northeast area. But, the fact is that also the school district is a very highly rated school district. So people that are looking for schools that their kids are going to attend to, they will be well pleased with the fact that Humboldt ISD has a good ratings in their schools and so forth. And the trees is beautiful. I mean, Houston is pretty much a flat area as far as a city and so forth. But the northeast part and north part of Houston has lots of trees. So if you like neighborhoods with trees, mature trees, Kingwood area is great for you. But it's very picturesque and has a nice scenery to the area.
And you mentioned lakes. Tell us about the water that's up there. Is there more than one lake?
There was mainly Lake Houston is the main lake that's up there in the northeast area. But if you travel further up, you can get up to Lake Livingston, which is about an hour north of the area. So it has a huge lake there where, a lot of people got to go out and do some camping, some fishing and so forth. So Lake Houston area is a smaller lake. But it's still nice to have properties in and around that lake that you can enjoy too as well.
And I was going to ask you about that. What about if someone wanted a home right on the water? What's the price point there?
It really depends on which side of the lake you're on. So you have the Atascocita side, the Kingwood side of the lake, and then you have the Huffman Crosby side of the lake. So and it also depends which neighborhood that you're looking to move into. So the price points on the lake start probably within about the $350 range on the east side of the lake, and then it goes on up to the $1 million range on the west side of the lake.
And do you see people that are in, let's say, the center of Houston, the center of the city, and they want to move to your area there to retire? It sounds like if you buy a house on the lake, that sounds pretty nice.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a great area to be around. It's very family-oriented. And so the people that are possibly moving up there for retirement, whatever the case would be, they do find themselves that it's very enjoyable because it's a very nice place to reside. And, the fact is that it's very pretty up there. So I would just say come out and take a visit, take a look around, give us a call, and we'd be happy to show you anything that you're looking for.
Mike, let's tell people how they can reach you.
Yes, sir. You can actually reach us on our website at fyrealty.net. That's just like it sounds, fyirealty.net, as well as you could call us at our office and reach agents that are on duty at 713-395-4975.
And also, you mentioned very quickly Lake Livingston. Now, do you cover that area as well?
We do, absolutely.
Give us a price point there. Let's say someone wants a nice home, not necessarily on the lake. What does it run up there in Lake Livingston?
Excuse me. Actually, it's very affordable up there. You could get in a nice house out there in around the 180 range with some land. So what you're going to gain there is you're going to have some nice property going along with the property that you're purchasing, the house itself.
Very nice. Tell us one more time how we can reach you.
Yes, sir. You can reach me at fyrealty.net, or you can reach us by phone, 713-395-4975.
Very nice. Mr. Michael Detana, FY Realty. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it.
We're going to take a short break and come right back with even more. Stay tuned.
Stewart Title has been serving Texas for over 120 years. A Texas treasure, Stewart Title's longevity is a testimony to superior service, innovation, and knowing what their customers want. Recent surveys show that 92% of respondents want secure online tracking tools to help them during the closing process. Stewart Title offers the most robust and secure system to track transactions online available today. To learn more, contact Stewart Title at one of their many offices around the city. Stewart Title, online at stewart.com. That's STEWART.com.
And welcome back. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Boy, what a great show. We want to really thank Mr. Steve Sheeny. He is a business development officer with Stewart Title. Up there, he brought in Mike Detana. We thank you for that, Steve. And I'll tell you what, if you want a great real estate transaction in the Kingwood area, Stewart Title up there doing a great job. Steve is leading the charge there as the business development officer. I want to encourage you to call 281-359-1280. 281-359-1280. Ask for Steve Sheeny. In the meantime, as always, we thank Stewart Insurance and Risk Management for sponsoring the show. That's where you can get home, auto, all kinds of insurance. So whether it's personal insurance or whether you have a commercial business of some kind, you can call Stewart and talk to them about getting a great quote, paying the right price, but most of all, getting awesome service and having your insurance needs, again, whether personal or commercial, have them tailored to your individual needs. No doubt about it. A great place to go. Of course, Stewart has title insurance. Yeah, people know us for that for 122 plus years, but the last 11 years we've been also insuring people with their home, their auto, and commercial insurance. Just go to stewart.com. The very first page under insurance, you can see both categories of insurance that I mentioned and call them at 866-845-4676. Stewart Insurance and Risk Management, 866-845-4676. So glad you listened to the show today, everybody. We also want to remind you to pick up the book by Brian Moran, The 12-Week Year. I am implementing the concepts in there, the principles. It's very inspiring. Again, Brian Moran, The 12-Week Year. Just go to 12weekyear.com. You could even Google Brian. See some of his YouTube videos. You can see a dynamic speaker. You can see someone that can help your business and or just individually using the principles that he talks about there. So Brian Moran, 12-Week Year, we thank you for that, Brian. We thank the sales professor, no doubt about it. And as always, Stewart Title, we're there to serve you. We are right here in Houston, Texas, our corporate office company. No doubt. Stewart offices all over the United States and, in fact, even international. And to hear all these shows again and again, go to stewart.com/Houston, the complete show archive. Once again, stewart.com/Houston. So we thank you for listening to the show. Thank you each and every week, and the show never ends because you can go to stewart.com/Houston to hear the shows again and again and to check the past guests. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation or Stewart Title. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.